In today's modern world, is there such a thing as normal family life?
Who's to say what's normal?
Some families enjoy a dangerous life. Some crave a relaxing life, and some just like the wildlife. In this series, we'll be visiting households across the globe to celebrate the wonderful, the inspirational, and the eccentric. Welcome to the world's most extraordinary families. Coming up, the animal-crazy British family who ended up running a zoo. The Texan family with a £2,000 house guest. But first, we're getting dolled up with a family who share their home with an unusual collection.
I think the amount of dolls I have is around probably 500, I would guess, but we never counted.
Staten Island, New York, home to the Mansfield family and hundreds of dolls.
I think I was about 7 or 8, and I got this doll called Real Baby. And it was a baby doll that was supposed to look realistic. I mean, back then I guess it did, but now compared to these, it really didn't. And I remember getting this doll, and that was it. I was like taking care of this doll like it was a baby, you know? And I would like take it out to the supermarket, put it in the shopping cart. So I loved this doll. That was my baby.
Marilyn's partner, Danny, was introduced to her extended family 13 years ago, and they have lived together in the doll's house ever since.
When we first got together, Marilyn's collection was, there were a lot of dolls.
He came in my house and was like, "You have a lot of dolls." And I was like, "Yeah, welcome," you know? That was it. But I mean, everyone who knew me knew already that I had a thing with dolls. Like, I used to go to work and carry like a Chucky doll. Like, I was just always with the dolls, you know? So he was totally fine with it. He always thought it was cool.
Marilyn invited me to dinner. So I went over to eat dinner, and of course, you know, when you enter someone's home, the first thing they do is they give you a tour of the house. So, you know, we walk around the house. Here's the living room, here's by the way, here's my room of collectibles. I like, you know, things that have lots of different characters, different, you know, variations of something. I always think that's kind of cool. So those collectibles really interested me. And I thought it was really cool that, you know, she's passionate about something.
And that's why I was like, you know what? I think this one's a keeper, because I probably wouldn't be with someone who didn't like the dolls. We're a package deal.
Marilyn's 2 children, Skylar and Damien, have lived in the doll's house since they were babies.
When people first walk in, I give them like a pre-warning. I'm like, if you're afraid of dolls, then you're in the wrong house. And if they're not, then they come in, and then I show them, and then they're like, oh my God, this is so cool. The dolls are definitely part of the family. They are, Ellie in particular, she's definitely a huge part of our family.
Ellie is a real doll, and I bought her from a private collection. I always wanted a real doll. And when I saw Lars and the Real Girl, the movie, I really, really wanted one. When we got her, she was wearing a robe. So we had to go buy her clothes. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was fun to pick out. We were like, oh, this will look cute on her, this will look cute on her. They've been around so much, like, I don't think we'd know like what it's like to be without them. So they're definitely a big part of the family.
And for some of the dolls, the family is also a big part of them.
This is Davina. Now she's special because she actually has hair. I rooted her hair. This is my son Damien's hair. He had long hair and I cut his hair. So that's Damien's hair. People do use human hair, so it wasn't that, you know, weird.
They are a very, very positive part of our family, though.
I couldn't really imagine life without the dolls. It would not feel the same without the dolls.
I don't think it would be home without them. And I think they all agree.
Coming up later, we'll see how Marilyn and her family have turned her cute and not so cute collectibles into a booming business. But first, we're off to the other side of the Atlantic to meet a household with some furry friends. 150 furry friends. The Mintram family from Lincolnshire in England are animal crazy.
Hello.
Dad Jamie, Mum Michelle, 12-year-old Josh, and 9-year-old Chloe opened their home to around 150 rescued creatures. Great and small. Before they accidentally became zookeepers, Jamie and Michelle worked together in a university science department.
We were very boring, very kind of 9 to 5, boring kind of job.
I had to wear a shirt and tie all the time, and it just didn't feel like me.
Whilst their work life was pretty conventional, in the family home things were a different story.
We started off just being a bit odd, having some odd animals, and the kind of word got round. And then we had people phone us up asking if we can take in animals, and kind of word spread. And then it just kind of developed from there, and it got to crunch point. We either couldn't take anything more on, or we had to do something quite drastic.
The Mintrams had taken so many animals into their home, the family decided to up sticks, leave their normal life behind, and turn a rundown farm into their very own rescue zoo.
We moved from what most people would have considered a normal ideal, the 3-bedroom detached house. We spent 2 years living on site in a caravan.
I don't miss that at all. But it's meant, you know, we can have dinners every night. We never had that before.
Since moving to the site, the family have upgraded to a new purpose-built lodge with all the mod cons, but it's still not quite the conventional family home.
Although it might seem a bit bonkers going from a house to a kind of lodgy caravan thing, it's meant we've got more time together, and it's been a lot better, yeah.
I get to see my kids all the time. Some days, admittedly, that's not a blessing when they're falling out with each other, but I get to spend all my time with my family. I get to work and do what I'm passionate about, and I get my kids involved in it as well, so it's the best of both worlds, really.
I can see the animals whenever I want, and I have a whole play park to play in.
It makes me feel good about myself because we're helping animals. We treat them well, so they have a good life.
In October 2016, the Ark, Britain's only rescue zoo, opened its doors, and now the Mintrams and their furry friends welcome visitors all year round.
We're a rescue zoo, so it means we don't buy or breed animals or particularly trade them. Anything that comes here has got a forever home. We mainly take animals from members of the public that need rehoming. There you are, I can see your tail.
When I first went to school, lots of people didn't even believe me that I lived in a zoo. And then when we opened, they started to believe me because they heard about it.
I got a lot of support from my family. They've been amazing. The groundwork, helping us build the place, the financing and all that sort of thing, we wouldn't have been able to do it without their help. Most parents, what would they say? We want to open a zoo. The response would be, don't be so silly.
Bucky, come here.
To us, it's normal, and to the kids, it's normal. I don't think they've really ever known anything any different.
Socky. Socky, come here. Socks. When he lived in my room, I used to wake up in the middle of the night smelling his poo.
Not very often.
Not very often, but sometimes. My favourite animals, Socks the fox, Rio the kawaii, Rascal the raccoon, and the skunks, because they used to always sleep under my bed.
My favourite animals are rabbits, guinea pigs, and like farm animals, because they're really fluffy and cute.
They might be fluffy and cute, but they're also hungry, and with all those mouths to feed, the grocery shop is a big deal. Every week, the animals chomp their way through a van load of fruit and veg, and the Mintrams have to cater for all tastes.
It's a real mixture. A lot of the animals that you would have traditionally associate as being purely carnivores, things like meerkats, which are traditionally mainly insects, will have a certain amount of fruit and vegetables in their diets. The iguanas, the tortoises, the porcupines, also our sort of more regular farm stock animals like the goats, the llamas, the alpacas, they'll all tuck into some of this as well. So it's a sort of a cross-section of the animals will benefit from this. Bandit loves lychees. Our Palm Civet goes absolutely mad for lychees. The wallabies love sweet potato and apple. The meerkats, being insectivores, they'll kind of begrudgingly eat their portion of fruit and veg later on in the day when there's nothing left to eat. They're about naughty school children. They'll eat the meat first. Kinkajou, he loves bananas. He'll pick those out first. Even Socks, the fox, who I think you met earlier on, he loves blueberries. Even though we traditionally associate them as being carnivores, he'll actually pick blueberries out of his bowl of meat first. He absolutely goes straight for blueberries.
And what's worse than a fussy eater?
Goats. They can actually be absolute horrors because although they're friendly, they're so boisterous and so in your face, they can be a real pain to deal with. Fred, unfortunately, although he's the biggest of the goats, he will get bullied. Chewy over there, the black and white pygmy, he's the boss of the herd, and unfortunately, he does throw his weight around.
Chewy headbutts him and headbutts all the others because he's mean and a big bully. He's a big bully to me too. He headbutts me.
Maybe it's got something to do with the fact that Fred hasn't got any horns. Maybe he's got an inferiority complex, I don't know. But we feed Fred separately every morning to make sure he gets plenty of food of his own. Oh, that's Fudge. He does that every single day. Sticks his head through. I don't know if he does it deliberately now because he likes the attention, and just waits there until someone comes along and releases him. The other 7, they all do it absolutely fine, but little Fudge always has to go and get his head stuck.
Coming up, it's training time for Josh and feeding time for a ravenous reptile. But now, we're off to Texas to meet a household with a larger-than-life family member.
Well, hello! What are you doing, baby? What are you doing, huh?
Meet Wild Thing. He's a 1,000-kilo bison, and he likes nothing more than wandering around the house.
Well, Wild Thing is a huge animal, but for me, he's still my little baby. You know, even though I know how big he is, but he's my baby. Don't come in.
Oh, goodness!
Ronnie and Sharon Bridges have shared their Texas home with Wild Thing for 13 years.
Approximately 6'2" tall. He weighs around 2,500 pounds, and his head weighs around 400. He is about 500 pounds bigger than any bison I've ever seen. And everybody that has bison come over to see Wild Thing, they can't believe how big he is. When Wild Thing was a calf, the first time we brought him in the house, it wasn't my idea, it was Sharon's idea to bring him in the house.
He goes, Sharon, we may not have a house left. And I said, yeah, but you only live one time. And he says, yeah, but we still may not have a house left.
He was probably about that long and about that tall. Probably didn't weigh much over 100 pounds.
Anyways, RC's kind of like me. He likes to be different. So we brought him in the house, and ever since then, we just opened up the door and he's in.
He was well behaved in the house, and then he didn't use the bathroom in the house, so we kind of let him just go in and out anytime he wanted to. And if he's in another room, I don't even worry about him. He's better behaved than my grandkids are. I need a wider door. He's definitely our biggest kid. He's not our oldest by any means, but he's very much a part of the family. Our real kids really do enjoy him, and they're very proud of him, but he's not safe for them to be around. If you had a normal buffalo in the house, you probably wouldn't even have a house left.
Although Wild Thing is well behaved inside, when he gets back into the garden, nature takes its course.
He's going to fertilize the lawn, RC.
Yeah, he does that. I clean up a lot of buffalo poop every day. We used to have 2 buffalo in the house, but the only problem is Bullet, she would go to the bathroom in the house. And if she pooped, it wasn't too bad, but if she peed, it went everywhere. She would horn the furniture more too.
Yeah.
Why he's so good in the house, I have no clue, but he tears up everything on outside of the house. He tears up my fences, my trucks.
Wild Thing is still a very wild animal. His kick can kill you. His horns could kill you. He don't bite, but you know, he could stomple you, he could horn you to death. So I do have to totally respect him.
He kicked me one time. We were skiing behind him on water skis on sand, and he actually left a dent in my leg. He was only a year old, but I have a dent in my leg now where he kicked me. If he kicked me now, I wouldn't probably live through it. Bison's disposition usually isn't real good. They have a high temper, and they like to knock stuff around. There aren't many people like me that work with a bison, but they're putting their life in a lot of risk doing it. He holds his temper back most of the time. But he's still, even for me, a dangerous animal to be around. I like the adrenaline rush. I always wanted to do it, you know. I'd still be riding bulls if I was a little bit younger, didn't have so many injuries. I left home when I was 14 years old to be a cowboy, and that's what I've done the rest of my life. I've worked on 9 different ranches, been the manager of 5, and I've broken trained horses most of my life. I was a rodeo clown. I was a bull rider, and I did saddle bronc and bareback, and did a little bit of everything. Wasn't great at anything, but did everything. I like the danger and the excitement of it. It's an adrenaline rush. I don't do drugs or drink and never have, and that took the place of, it gave me the high I wanted.
It's mealtime in the Lone Star State, and R.C. and Sharon are having a bison for lunch.
We're fixing to eat lunch with Wild Thing. He likes coming in the house and eat with us. He won't eat pizza though, but he likes his horse and mule feed real well. Well, we had to move furniture. He's like having a small car come through your house. But other than that, all you gotta do is open the door. He knows he's gonna get to go in the house, so he's excited about going in. Here he is. We don't have him in the house every day to eat, but occasionally, especially when he's asking to come in, we'll move the furniture around and let him in. We enjoy him coming to the dining table to eat with us. And I think he enjoys it more than eating in the barn. He's definitely part of the family.
You know, most kids are real messy at the table, but our kid, most time he's pretty good at the table.
He keeps his nose to his business.
Good-mannered bison.
He does kind of spread his food all over the table. I have to hold his bowl sometimes because he gets too carried away. Are we done?
We'll be catching up with Wild Thing later to find out how he keeps cool in the Texan heat. But next, we're back to New York, where the dolls are hitting the streets. In Staten Island, Marilyn Mansfield is off to a restaurant with her family. And I mean, all her family.
I do take the more natural looking ones out. Come on, Skylar, Damien. No, I'm not bringing them. We've taken them out to eat, we've taken them shopping, we've taken them to the park, I've taken them to the aquarium, you know, just one in the carriage. And I always ask first, does anyone mind if I bring one? They're like, no. And they'll push the stroller, they'll, you know, my husband will carry the car seat, you know. It just makes me happy. I like to push the stroller. Just take a fake baby out. I used to love when the kids were little in the stroller. So, I don't know, it's just something I really enjoy. And they don't mind it, so why not?
The reaction from people when we do take a doll out with us is always they're amazed at how realistic the doll looks. People are often confused when we tell them it's not a real baby, it's a doll.
Hello.
Hi.
You want to see my baby?
Yes, I do. Oh my God. It's real.
You want to hold him?
Sure. Oh, cute. Oh my God. I don't know. It was really cool. It felt so real. It felt like a real baby, yeah. I started rocking back and forth.
I thought it was real when you first woke in. It's crazy.
I'd say 9 out of 10 people are just like in disbelief. They're like, no, you're kidding. You're playing with me, right?
Oh my. It even like moves as
Yeah?
crazy.
You gotta hold. You ever held the baby?
Yeah.
Oh, look how cute.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
It always brings attention, and then it turns into a whole explanation.
It's a doll. Oh, it's a doll.
It's a doll, yeah.
That's what's so creepy about it. I don't think it looks like Mikey. So you did design these, or
Yeah, I paint
can I
them.
touch?
Yeah.
Paint them. Oh, the hair's cute. That baby looked real. It looked like my friend's son. Cute.
People's reactions are mostly positive. Very rare, people will be like, that's really creepy because it looks so lifelike, but it's not.
I thought it was freaky and I didn't want to touch it.
You get like maybe 1 out of 10 that's like, oh, that's really creepy. Like, I don't know, it's just unsettling for some people, which is fine. I don't understand it personally, but I understand that they see it as unsettling because it looks so real and it's not real. Bye-bye, thank you so much. That's a typical reaction that we get when we take the dolls out. You know, people think it's a baby, they come over, say how cute the baby is, and then when I tell them it's a doll, it's a little confusion. And then when they finally get it, they're really impressed with how, how lifelike they are and everything, especially when they hold the baby and it's weighted and all. It's very, very lifelike.
In 2012, Marilyn Mansfield turned from doll collector to doll maker and now takes orders for dolls from around the world. The baby business is booming.
Oh, wow. Since I started, it's, oh, geez. How many? Like, hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds. Made hundreds, yeah.
Paying around $300 for a bespoke baby, her customers have a variety of reasons for wanting their own cuddly creation.
I've done dolls that look like people's children when they were babies. Or they just want a doll, they'll tell me like what they want. Like I'll show them different sculpts. They'll pick a face, and then they'll pick like the eye color, the hair color, skin tone, every little detail. These dolls look and feel so realistic that I believe it tricks the mind into thinking that you're holding a real baby. It makes me feel very calm, happy, and content. They have been used for therapy for multiple things. For calming Alzheimer's patients. I've known people with like trauma that it calms them down. Anxiety calms them down. So I mean, they do have therapeutic aspects to the dolls. They're not just dolls.
But Marilyn's most popular line of dolls are not your average cute reborn. There's something altogether more grisly. And we'll meet some of her freakish family later on. But for now, we're back at the Mintram family zoo, where there's a hungry mouth to feed. We're back in Lincolnshire, and it's feeding time at the zoo.
Right, let's go and feed Becky.
And that would be Becky, the Morlet's crocodile.
You can take hold of that.
All right. You fixed it.
Just another father-son activity, Mintram family style.
Right, let's get our fish ready. Today, we've got some nice whole sardines. Grip. Right, bring the stick up, bring it over, down on the side. There you go. Textbook. That's how you feed a crocodile. Well, Becky was being well looked after at a conservation centre in Kent, but they lost their reptile keeper, and so they didn't have anyone sort of qualified or experienced to work with her, so we were phoned up and we were asked if we could take her on instead to give her a permanent safe home with people that have worked with crocodilians before. This is an interesting little guy. We've got a spectacled caiman. Rudolph the spectacled caiman, he was brought illegally on the black market. He was being kept in a bathtub, in a flat in London, and been bought as a birthday present for the owner's 13-year-old son. Absolute madness. From what I gather, they were trying to feed him sausages, and obviously crocodiles aren't designed to eat sausages, so he was very malnourished and underweight, and we then offered to give him a permanent home, and he came up to us in Norfolk, and he's now settled in with us in a nice heated pond.
It does annoy me that people get animals. I mean, we're not against people keeping exotic animals as pets. I would never, you know, dictate to other people what they should and shouldn't do, but it's about doing your research and knowing what you're letting yourself in for.
Crocodilians, most venomous snakes, wild cats, they're what we call DWA animals, dangerous wild animals. There are certain types of animal that you're just not allowed to keep for obvious reasons.
Dangerous or not, they all need feeding. And luckily, intrepid budding zookeeper Josh is on hand to ensure Echo the Eurasian lynx is catered for.
Echo, come and get your chickie.
Come on, Echo.
Oh, hey, Echo.
Hold it right at the very end, just like we've shown you a dozen times before.
Hey, there you go.
You're going to save it for later.
On the other side of the park, Mum Michelle is preparing for some new arrivals.
We've got 5 female lemurs coming from a zoo in France. We've been anticipating them for a while, kind of getting ready, and we're all really, really excited.
We've never really dealt with primates before, so we've got a lot of backing from our partner sanctuary over in Europe, and we've got a lot of advice from expert primatologists on how to set up their environment for them. So this is going to be something very new for us that we're really excited to get into. Another new experience for the Ark.
We'll be seeing how the Mintrons get on with their furry visitors later. But now, we're heading back to the USA and the temperature is rising. Ronnie and Sharon Bridges are about to cool down a hot and bothered bison, Texas style.
Keep the hose straight because it leaks. And
Oh, am I gonna get sprayed?
No, I probably will.
Does that feel good, Wild Thing? Look how dirty it is. Thanks.
I bathe them every day, but I don't use soap every day. I don't think it's good for his skin. But he'll ask me to give him a bath. I may be at the garden watering the plants, and he'll go stand by the water hose there, and I know that he's wanting a bath.
But this is the first time I've given Wild Thing a bath. Trying to get a lot of that water right there, but without getting directly in his face. You say you don't like that?
Oh, Sharon's doing real good.
I think Wild Thing definitely loves cool water.
In this heat, he'll take it all day long if you let him.
For RC and Sharon, life on the ranch with Wild Thing really is a lifelong dream.
When I was 5 years old, I knew I was going to be a cowboy. When Sharon was probably 5 years old, I think she told her mama she's going to live in a 2-story house and marry a cowboy. And both of our dreams came true.
But life as a rodeo rider is no picnic, and RC has the scars to prove it.
Right before I left home, a horse kicked my teeth out. The doctors tell me I've had nearly every bone in my body broke more than once. Of course, I've had my neck broke twice.
Every good cowboy knows when it's time to hang up his rodeo boots. When injuries took their toll, RC took up ranching buffalo. But in 2014, disaster struck.
I was swimming in the lake, and parasites got in my eye and ate my eye. And I had to put acid in it every hour, and it sounded like I was frying an egg.
He lost weight from it, but he never complained. We had to sell out our buffalo herd just so we could make ends meet.
We just didn't have any money to live on. We sold horses, cattle, buffalo, all but Wild Thing.
I thought I was going to lose my husband as well. We actually kept Wild Thing really for our older boy, Lloyd. But Wild Thing, as a calf, he was beating up Lloyd. And Lloyd says, I can't do it no more, Daddy.
He was beating both of us up every day, and anyway, I decided I wasn't gonna quit working with him. And he was just tearing into me every single day, and I told my wife one day, I said, all my horse tricks and all my cow tricks aren't working. I said, in the morning I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna act like nothing happens when he horns me and kicks me. And about 4 or 5 hours later, he was bored to death. He didn't care nothing about getting me anymore, but he wanted to get everybody else. I think I understand what buffalo are thinking and doing and know how to control them better than most other cowboys that work with buffalo.
Coming up, a big day out for Wild Thing. But first, back in New York, Marilyn Mansfield's blossoming baby business has developed into something more gruesome.
I said for Halloween, I want to do a zombie, you know, that kind of thing. And people really like those, so I just kept doing them all year. And then it got into the sculpting. I started sculpting the fangs and teeth and horns and things like that. And it was like a dream come true. I'm like, I can't believe that, you know, I used to collect these dolls by other artists, and now I am creating them. This is a finished baby. This is our baby Judith. She comes to all the conventions with us. So this is how it will look, similar to when it's totally finished. So she has a little bite there. She has a little zombie bite. People go crazy for the zombie babies, especially. You know, they really love these little monsters, and I'm happy to make them because, you know, I've been a lifelong horror fan. I always liked horror movies and things like that. I've always liked creepy and cute mixed together. That's always been my thing. Like a cute little baby, then you look close and has fangs. I think it's so cool. Like, I don't know. I've always loved it, you know? So, I mean, like I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's a lot of people's cup of tea.
To meet demand for the demonic dollies, the whole family get involved and travel far and wide to conventions across the country where Marilyn's creations fly off the shelves.
This one over here likes to sell. He will sell anything.
When I get started, I could sell anything.
So
Just put it in front of me and I'll sell it. She puts them on the table, someone's gonna want them, and I'm like, all right, what do I got, what do I got, what do I got, what do I got? You know, it's like an auction. I just start selling all the dolls, and she's actually gotten angry at me because I've sold dolls that she was attached to, and then afterwards when we're leaving, we're packing up, she says, oh, I can't believe we sold that one. And I'm like, it was for sale. He was there, you know, somebody wanted him, so what am I gonna do?
We view them as art forms. We obviously know that they are dolls. We're not oblivious to that fact or anything.
When the dolls first are being created, it's basically like a blank canvas. So the artist now brings that to life by adding their artistic talent to it, by their creativity, by their imagination.
You can take the same sculpt and parts and have 10 artists work on them, and they'll all look different. It's definitely an art form. Instead of a flat canvas, our canvas is the doll. I always say, you know, I'm living a dream come true over here. If you told me that I'd be, when I was little, one day you're gonna be grown up and you're gonna, you know, make dolls and play with dolls and people will wanna record you doing it, I would have been like, yeah, right, you know? But it happened and I'm totally glad and grateful. I mean, I love it, you know? Each layer of paint has to be baked on. So the doll parts go in an oven. You bake them for 8 minutes at 265. Now that sets the paint. If you don't do that, it will eventually rub off. So this makes it permanent.
Me and my family are very open-minded. We're not judgmental or anything, so if anything, it also taught us all lessons on how to appreciate another form of art.
If the people who think it's strange, that's fine. Who's to say what's normal, you know?
This is what makes us happy. So that's where we're gonna leave it. I'm not trying to force this onto anyone, nor would I want anyone to force their tastes upon me.
I don't like the word normal, because there's no set on what's normal, you know, to me anyway. That's how I feel. I've always been very open-minded, and I feel people should do what makes them happy. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, I don't see any harm in it. I'm not filling any void. I just enjoy pushing a stroller with the baby in it. I made a doll for a woman who lost a baby and it helped her. I'm not saying it worked for everyone, but for this particular woman, it helped her, so.
Different tastes for different people, you know? We're not hurting anybody with our particular tastes. The person that might think this is weird might have their own particular taste that I won't agree with. And, you know, live and let live.
The dolls definitely bring us together as a family.
We're always kind of together because we're always working together.
It did start out as my thing, but it turned into a family thing. And that was the coolest thing about it because, you know, we do this all together.
I'm very proud of my wife, Marilyn. She's a very unique artist and great mother who's been able to turn a passion into a flourishing business.
We really enjoy this stuff. I just can't picture our lives without it.
It's Lemur Day at the Mintram family's Lincolnshire Zoo.
The lemurs will be living on our new bespoke habitat. It's called Lemur Lake. It's going to be a first for Lincolnshire. It's a lakeland habitat surrounded by water because lemurs are naturally adverse to swimming. So people will be able to see them without any barriers or bars in the way, and the lemurs will feel safe because they'll be far enough removed from the public on the safety of their own island. Lemur Lake kind of shows the ethos of the Ark. We are small little guys. We can't afford to throw hundreds of thousands of pounds at projects. So it's very much a family project, family and friends.
Sometimes, though, it is best just to splash out.
Unfortunately, we bought this boat and it was a bargain, but we've kind of seen why it's a bargain. That'll teach us to go cheap with the boat. We spent all the money on the enclosure, but yeah, the boat we got cheap second-hand, and that serves us right, really.
Yeah, they're going to be here in about 45 minutes, so you might want to turn around and come back.
With the lemurs on their way, it's all hands to the pumps to prepare their accommodation.
What? You said they were coming at 5 or 6.
It is 5 in 45 minutes. We lost track of time. Yeah, that'll do, won't it? We'll get them another one. We've had this built now for a few weeks, and we have some geese, some Canadian geese that live on the lake, and they got in one night and it pooed all over the floor.
The lemurs are now here, so I'm just going to open up the gate to let Matt in.
You didn't mess about, did you?
So the Mintram family's new arrivals are settling in nicely, and everyone has come to take a look. And I mean everyone.
They can jump very high though, because Mum, when you let them in, they literally just jump.
Yeah, straight across that back corner.
Yeah. They're so cute. I love them. They've definitely grown since the picture was taken.
You reckon?
No, I don't think they have.
I think you'll find they're mostly fluff.
Yeah.
I really like them. They're setting really quickly.
I'm really happy and excited.
I think it's a big thing for the park. Hopefully it's going to bring in people. Being a rescue sanctuary, we rely on visitors to fund the rescue programme. So yeah, hopefully it should bring in even more people than we're already having.
So, from a 3-bedroomed house to a fully fledged zoo, via a second-hand caravan, the Mintram's menagerie continues to thrive. But for Mum and Dad, it's Josh and Chloe that are the stars of the show.
Both me and Michelle are proud of our kids. They're really part of the driving force behind all of this, as well as wanting to help the animals out. We also wanted to give our kids a lifestyle that they're going to look back on and, touch wood, remember really fondly.
I asked Chloe about how she had to go to school to learn to get a good job, and she turned around and said to me, I'm not going to bother because I'm going to run the zoo, so that's fine. Josh, I think, will.
When I grow up, I kind of want to work here and help out with the animals because it's really fun.
It's important to rescue the animals so they don't get poorly and sick.
I wouldn't go back to work in a proper job, not in a million years.
Yeah, I don't know what I'll do if I do take it over, but I'll run it well.
Well, today we are going to take Wild Thing to one of his favorite spots to go swimming.
Sounds like a lovely day out, but when your passenger is a 2,000-pound bison, you can't take anything for granted. But at least today, he's riding in style.
This will be his first time in my new trailer and be the first time my new truck ever pulled him. I think he's going to enjoy it. I don't know how he's going to load in this trailer. He's used to his old trailer, but I think he'll do it fine. Yeah, he would have gone in the old trailer faster, but he was a little concerned about the new one. But he did good.
Ready, cowboy?
I'm ready. I've got to go in first to make sure that he's not going to get stuck in the mud. And then I got to also make sure all the snakes are out of the way. And I can go in there and splash around because I don't want him getting bit. The American bison is so important to the American Indians back in the 1800s and before. That's all they lived off of. They'd follow the herds and they wouldn't waste anything. They even use the hooves. They use the hides for clothing. They made teepees out of them, out of the hides. And of course, they ate the meat, and it's one of the best meats you can eat. Bison meat is a little bit sweeter than beef and has less cholesterol than fish. It's the only red meat you can eat all you want of. It's very healthy for you.
Ronnie Bridges is well aware of just how close these majestic creatures actually came to extinction in America.
At one time, there was over 30 million, and they killed them down to where there was only 800. They were trying to starve the Indian out. And they were going to have the last buffalo hunt and kill the other 800, and Charles Goodnight stopped it. There's about 500,000 of them now, and they are coming back. We raised bison. We had 52 head at one time. We ate bison. We killed them and ate them, and I hope people will do that. They need to eat bison because if they don't eat them, there won't be any. That's the reason we have so many big herds of cattle. People eat cattle. Ranchers raise cattle. If nobody ate them, there wouldn't be an incentive to raise cattle. In the same way with the bison, we need people to eat the meat. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, especially in the heat. And the biggest thing I know Wild Thing really enjoyed it. He said, I've had my fun, I'm ready to go home.
So, as the sun sets on the Texas plain, it's back to the ranch for Wild Thing.
He's laying around with Sharon, just hanging out. That's what he likes doing. He likes just hanging out with us.
And if there were any doubt what a huge part of the Bridges family this hairy heavyweight is...
When R.C. and I first got married, of course, we didn't have Wild Thing. But for our 5th wedding anniversary, Wild Thing was a year old. And R.C. just says, well, we need a best man. Let's do something a little different. So we had Wild Thing to become our best man, and R.C. took the rings, hooked them on his horns, and he slung the rings off. And so I guess, I don't know, maybe he didn't want us to get married. I don't know. Maybe he was jealous. But Wild Thing has been our best man ever since then.
He's our baby, and we just think he's beautiful.